In a previous video, we looked at setting up a static route from 192.168.1.0 to 192.168.2.0 on these two routers, and then back again. I'm going to remove that static route. Enable, conf t, IP route, or excuse me, no IP route, 192.168.2.0, 255.255.255.0. Okay, that static route is gone, and now remove the static route from R3. No IP route, 192.168.1.0, 255.255.255.0. That static route is now gone. Let's check at least one of these and make sure. So I'm going to do a show IP route. And there's no static route left in here. So now our ping would fail again if we tried to get from 1.2 to 2.2, because this router doesn't know how to get to this network. This router doesn't know how to get to this network. Now the reason I took that static route out is because we're going to set up a default route. So let's go ahead and set up a default route up to this router, R2. Now how am I going to do that? Well, the command looks similar. Configure terminal, and IP route is the way I'm going to start. Now the default route says any address that I don't know how to get to, this is where I send it. So how do I say any address? Well, 0.0.0.0 with a subnet mask of 0.0.0.0. This is how I set a default route. And now I'm going to say, well, where am I going to send traffic? By the way, if you think about it, if 255, 255, 255, 255 means one single address, 000 means any address. So starting with 0, any address from 0 to 255 in any of those octets. So now I'm going to say, well, send that to 5.1 up here. So 192.168.5.1. My default route is set. Let's take a look at it in the routing table. Show IP route. And now you have gateway of last resort is 192.168.5.1. That's the gateway of last resort, or my default gateway. To network, well, anything. All right, that isn't enough for us to know how to get a packet over to here. And we still have a problem with it getting back again, right? So this router up here, router 2, needs to send it out to this router. So let's make this the gateway of last resort for this router. Or shall we make a static address? You know, this is the ISP up here. And normally we wouldn't send traffic into our network. And so I'm just going to go ahead and set a static route from R2 to get to this 2.0. So let's set a static route there. Privileged exec mode, configure terminal, IP route 192.168.2.0, 255, 255, 255.0, and it goes out of this interface. I'm not sure what that number is off the top of my head, so let's go ahead and just send it to 4.2. There we go. And it knows about 4.2 because it's connected to the 4.0 network, remember. Directly connected to that network. So now this one is going to send it up to here because this is its default route. And then this one's going to statically send it up here. All right, in getting back again, rather than, normally I would make this the default route for this as well. Well, let's go ahead and do that. Let's make this one, since this is the ISP, we'll make this the static, or excuse me, the default route for any traffic that this doesn't know where to send it to. All right, let's set that up. Get this where everybody can see it here, we hope. I don't know which side, where to send it here so that you can see everything. Picture's in the way there. Okay, IP route 0.0.0.0, 0.0.0.0, and it will send it to 4.1 over here. So 192.168.4.1. All right, this one now has a default route in it, and we'll set this one, if it's going to the 1.0 network, to go ahead and send it down to 5.2. So let's set that static route. IP route 192.168.1.0, 255.255.255.0. Send it to 5.2. 192.168.5.2. All right, so we have this one up here with static routes to get to 2.0, and this one and 1.0, and then these two have default gateways, but they don't have a static route. They have no idea how to get up here. In fact, let's take a look at R1 again. So let's redo this IP route, and you'll see I don't have the only static route I have in here. I don't have a route how to get to 2.2, but I have a default gateway, or gateway of last resort, that says send any network traffic that I don't know where to get to out to 5.1. So it sends it up to this router. Let's try our ping now and see if we're successful. Ping 192.168.2.2, and look at that, we have a successful ping. Well, let's look at our simulator and see if we can trace what's going on here. So I'll set up for ICMP traffic, and I'm going to turn the speed up a little bit more, and then we'll go ahead and do that ping again, and I'll turn this off so we can see the packets, and I'll hit the start button, and there it goes up to here, and then it's going to take the gateway of last resort up to here, and then the static route down to here, over up to 2.2. Now when it comes back, it should take the same route back. I could have made it go here to get back, but I didn't. And this one it did by gateway of last resort. This one it did by static route. Let's actually set a static route from this one. Let's turn this thing off. From R3 down to R1 and see what happens. IP route 192.168.1.0. So I'm setting on R3 to get to this network down here. 255.255.255.0. And I'm going to tell it, if you're going to that network, send it to 6.1. 192.168.6.1. All right, let's try our ping again now and see what happens. I'm going to turn the simulator on again. Make sure we're only looking at ICMP traffic. And now I'll go ahead and send out this ping. I'll turn this off and hit the go button. Okay, it should go up to R2, the gateway of last resort, because it doesn't know how else to get there. Now it's taking a static route to here. Okay, back here. But now let's watch it this time. We're going to go over to R3, and this time we should go down directly to router 1 and then back, because now it has a static route. So you notice the first time it didn't know how to get here, so it sent it to the gateway of last resort. But this time it did know how to get here, so it sent it directly back. But this one didn't know how to get up here, so it used the gateway of last resort.